This is Mr. Ruby, and this is a reading of Characteristics of Life Advanced from CK12. Reading with my second period science class. Kind of applause to see this live studio audience here. Thank you, live studio audience. Okay. Characteristics of Life Advanced. Chapter 1. Identify the 7 characteristics of living things. Define cell. Describe an adaptation. Explain a complex chemistry, and describe the importance of homeostasis. As we scroll down through, we see a jellyfish here, and a whale there. Or is that a bacterium? Let's find out. I think it's a bacterium. What do bacterium and a whale have in common? Do they share characteristics with us? All living organisms, from the smallest bacterium to the largest whale, share certain characteristics of life. For example, all living things are made of cells, and they must reproduce to make the next generation. Without these characteristics, there is no life. Oh, that makes sense. And we have a section on the characteristics of life. Biology examines the structure, function, growth, origin, evolution, and distribution of living things. It classifies and describes organisms, their functions, how species come into existence, and the interactions they have with each other and with natural environment. 4 unifying principles form the foundations of modern biology: cell theory, evolution, genetics, and homeostasis. When this year we'll go over all these. We'll go over cell theory we're doing right now. We'll do evolution, and we'll do genetics. And homeostasis comes in between all those. Most biological sciences are specialized areas of study. Biology includes biochemistry, cell biology, microbiology, immunology, genetics, physiology, zoology, ecology, evolutionary biology, and botany. Biochemistry is the study of the chemicals that make up life. Cell biology is the study of life at the level of the cell. Microbiology is the study of the microscopic organisms. Immunology is the study of an organism's resistance to disease. Genetics is the study of how organisms pass traits to their offspring. The study of how human body works is called physiology. Zoology is the study of animals. The study of how organisms interact with their environment and each other is called ecology. Evolutionary biology is the study of how populations and species change over time. Botany is the study of plants, and the 4 unifying principles are important foundations for each and every field of biology. Applied fields of biology, such as medicine and genetic research, involve many specialized areas of study. That was a lot about biology. What is life? Not all scientists agree about what makes up life. Many characteristics describe most living things. However, the most of the characteristics listed below, we can think of one or more examples that would seem to break the rule, with something non-living being classified as living, or something living being classified as non-living. There is not just one distinguishing feature that separates a living from a non-living thing. A cat moves, but so does a car. A tree grows bigger, but so does a cloud. A cell has structure, but so does a crystal. Biologists define life by listing characteristics of living things share, something that all of the characteristics of life is considered to be alive. The duck decor in figure 1.1, right down here, may look like a duck, act like a duck, that it floats about, but it's not alive. The decoy cannot reproduce, respond to its environment, or breathe. Figure 1. Is it a duck? Both of these objects move across the water surface, but how can you tell which one is alive and which one is not? You can tell by seeing which one of them has the characteristics of life. Yeah, stimulus and response. One's going to respond and fly away, one's just going to sit there. As individual living creature is called an organism. Well, we know that. We went over that last week. There are many characteristics of living organisms share. They all, and here's a good list for you, respond to their environment, grow and change, reproduce and have offspring, have complex chemistry, maintain homeostasis, are built of structures called cells, and pass their traits on to their offspring. So responding to environment. We talked about this a little bit before, stimulus and response. All living organisms respond to their environment. If you step on a rock, it will just lie there. But if you step on a turtle, it may move or snap at you. Living things know just what's going on around them and responds to changes in the environment. An adaptation refers to the process of becoming adjusted to an environment. Adaptations may include structural, physiological, or behavioral traits that improve an organism's likelihood to survive and thus reproduce. Growth and change. All living organisms have the ability to grow and change. A seed may look like a pebble, but under the right conditions, it will sprout and form a seedling that will grow into a larger plant. The pebble, of course, will not grow. Even the smallest bacteria must grow. The bacteria will reproduce by dividing into two separate bacteria. If the parent bacterium does not grow, then each subsequent generation will just be smaller than the previous generation. Eventually, the bacterium would be too small to function properly. Reproduction. All living organisms must have the ability to reproduce. Living things make more organisms like themselves. Whether the organism is a rabbit or a tree or a bacterium, life will create more life. If a species cannot create, the next generation of the species will go extinct. Reproduction is a process of making the next generation and may be sexual or asexual. Sexual reproduction relies on two parents and the fusion of gametes, haploids, and cells from each parent. Sexual reproduction produces offspring that are genetically unique and increase genetic variation within the species. Asexual reproduction involves only one parent and occurs without the fusion of gametes and produces offspring that are genetically identical to the parent. When we talk about this later on, genetics, a good example of this is a potato. A potato, there's no male and female potato. They just keep making more potatoes. So they're genetically the same. Unlike puppies, you cross a black Labrador with a poodle, you get a Labradoodle. Labradoodle? Something like that. But yeah, you get the two traits. Let's see, complex chemistry. Next section. All living organisms have complex chemistry. A flower has a complicated and beautiful structure, so does a crystal. But if you look closely at the crystal, you see no change. The flower, on the other hand, is transporting water through its petals, producing pigment molecules and breaking down sugar for energy, and undergoing a large number of other biochemical reactions that are needed for living organisms to stay alive. The sum of all the chemical reactions is called metabolism. You have it, I have it, we break down food and use it for energy. Maintaining homeostasis. A human body has a temperature of 37 degrees Celsius, about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. If you step outside on a cold morning, the temperature might be below freezing. Nevertheless, you do not become an ice cube. You shiver, and the movement of your arms and legs allows you to stay warm. Eating food also provides your body the energy it needs to keep warm. Living organisms keep their internal environments within a certain range They maintain a stable internal condition despite changes in the external environment. This process is called homeostasis and is an important characteristic of all living things. Built of cells. If you look closely at any organism that you see that is made up of structures called cells, organisms are very different, such as ferns, fish, elephants, all look similar at the cellular level. A cell is the basic unit of structure and function of all living things. All living organisms are made of one or more cells. A simple bacterium will consist of just one cell, whereas you are made of trillions of cells. Organisms are organized in the microscopic level form from atoms up to cells. The matter is structure is ordered the way. Atoms are arranged into molecules, then macromolecules, which make up organelles, which work together to form cells. Beyond this, cells are organized in the higher levels to form entire multicellular organisms, as shown in figure 1.4. Cells together form tissues, which make up organs, which are a part of organ systems, which work together to form an entire organism. Of course, beyond this, organisms form populations, which make part of an ecosystem. All diverse ecosystems together form the diverse environment that is Earth. Wow, that's a lot. From atoms all the way up to ecosystems. So figure 1.3, representation of human cells left and onion cells right. If you look at the human cells and the onion cells under a microscope, this is what you might see. So the onion cells and the human cells, they both have a nucleus. They're both going to have some mitochondria going around in there. They're going to have some similar structures. What's really different is inside the DNA. The DNA, which gives the directions, is much different. Figure 1.4, levels of organization in a tree. The tree is an organism. The leaf is an organ. The leaf tissue is made up of different types of cells. The plant cell, the chloroplast, the organelles of plant cell. Chlorophyll is the photosynthetic molecule that is found in the chloroplast. So there you go, from organism to organ to tissue to cell to molecule. And that is the whole reading. And here's a summary right here, which will help you with the attached questions. They're on the other page. And I'd like to thank Characters of Life Advanced, and this was a CK12 reading. This is Mr. Ruby, and this will soon be on the YouTube. I'd like my secretary class to say goodbye in 3, 2, 1. Say goodbye, everyone. Bye. Thank you.